Definitely, maybe a little bit dropped the ball, but I have picked it back up. And let's get into how to get refocused and re-lock in, tune back in, and continue to get our goals. Hi, I'm Ariana. I'm a social media manager and a content creator. On this channel, we talk about socials for business, content creation, work-life balance, routines, productivity, all of that fun stuff. If conversations and content like this interest you, I highly recommend subscribing. So today we are getting into, again, how to lock back in on your goals, because at this point of time in the year, it is so easy to forget about what our New Year's resolutions are. It's been like a good amount of time working on them. This is like the time that people just kind of take a break from what they're doing and from their focus. And I definitely fell into this trap too. So let's talk about re-inspiring ourselves and getting back on the ball. So if this is you, hopefully this will help you. So the first thing that I did was I went ahead and reevaluated my goals for the entire year. Now, before you do any of this, I would like you to sit down and plan a time, or like pick a time, choose a day where you can literally sit down with the thing that you use to kind of plan out your life, whether that's like a planner, whether it's your iPad, whether it's your computer. You want to kind of like set a date with yourself so that you can like sit down and think about this. This is kind of similar to carving out time to plan out your vision board, if that's something that you do at the beginning of the year. This is kind of like a similar mind space, headspace situation, appointment. So when the time has come, we are going to reevaluate our goals. So we're talking about the entire yearly goal. We're literally going to take it all the way back to January 1st and reevaluate what your goals are for the entire year, and also what your goals are for the quarterly goals. So not just Q2, but just like quarterly goals based on what your entire year of goals are. And then your life goals too. So yeah, you might have brand goals, you might have business goals, you might have like creator goals, but what else is there in your life that you kind of move towards and create for yourself? For me, one of my really big goals in life category is actually to get better and be healthier. I have recently been like going to the gym and taking it so much more seriously, literally just like a couple days ago, because I did this. I reevaluated this and I was feeling like super disappointed and super just discouraged up until I did this, and now I'm like super locked back in. And I already lost like 3 pounds. So since Monday, today is Thursday. So it's going great. Of course, that might just be like water weight, but I'll take it. So when I say like reevaluate your goals, your yearly goals, your quarterly goals, and your life goals, just kind of write down what it is that you want to achieve this year. As always, be realistic with what it is you're trying to do in this time frame. And this brings me to my step 2, which is scaling back. So this can be a really great way to refresh your focus, because I personally felt like I was doing way too much, and I kind of fell into this cycle of putting too much on my plate, which would result in me never finishing my to-do list for the day. Literally every single day, I would still have things on my to-do list that it would be 11 p.m. at night and I would be like done for the day. And I still had things to do, and I would just be like, I'm going to sleep. And that was just not a good feeling. And I was in this state for a really good amount of time where it was like actually impacting focus, my motivation, and my kind of mindset towards my goals. So one thing that I did was scale back when I was reevaluating my goals and reevaluating what I wanted to focus on. So I actually deleted some stuff from my to-do list, from what I was focusing on, and from my goals. Or like my action plan to get to these goals. And this actually made me feel so much better. And it also made me feel like I could actually really get the goals that I created for myself, that has to do with the January 1st goal, the 2026 goals, and then also the goals that I reevaluated with this like past date of mine. So if you're feeling like you're doing too much, or you're not really moving the needle to get your goals, take a shot every time I say goals, a shot of water, stay hydrated if that is one of your goals this year. Yeah, if you feel like a little bit overwhelmed with all of the things that you plan on doing or goals you want to create at the end of the year, I definitely would recommend scaling back, because that will kind of eliminate that feeling of you are kind of feeling disappointed, not moving forward or moving towards your goals, and also give you kind of like a refresh of like your action plan. So now, after kind of deleting those and kind of putting them on the back burner, I did, but I also do still want to do them. So I kind of reprioritized them, scaled back what I want my like weekly output to be for those specific things. But then I kind of switched them in my mind and kind of lessened the priority of it. And to me now, it's more of like a side quest, not that important if I don't get it done. I do have like I do have the scaled back version of what I want to get done for that specific thing weekly, but it's more of a side quest priority situation in my mind now. So this is making me feel like I can really just do all the things that I want to do, and at the end of the day I will feel accomplished. I'll feel like I'm actually growing and moving forward, and it's just a much better state of being. The next thing that I want you to do, and that I did as well, is refresh your weekly schedule with this kind of updated plan. What I did was inject my new priority into my weekly schedule, and refreshing your weekly schedule, basically doing like a spring cleaning, your routines and your weekly schedule and your day to day is going to give you a new sense of direction and focus and motivation, because it's kind of like switching things up. So for example, I used to do my morning routine when I woke up, and then I would sit in front of my desk, and then I would kind of write out my day map or kind of go through my daily schedule. And as soon as I kind of finished taking my moment of looking at what the plan was for the day, I would jump right into client content, because I wanted to get it out of the way as soon as possible so that I could work on like my back end, because my client work is definitely a priority. So I put it at the top of my to-do list of the day when I actually did start working. So what I'm actually doing now is I kind of took one of the tasks that I find really important for my brand, and it's basically just a task that is going to really propel my brand and my business forward. It's kind of like a scaling task that will help my brand grow, but it doesn't take too long. So I put that task right before my client work. So that's the first thing that I'm jumping into every day when I am working, getting it out of the way. And then it makes me feel like I'm literally moving forward and the day didn't even start yet. And to me, my client work is definitely a non-negotiable. So even if I'm doing something before that, I'm still going to get my client work done. So just rearranging my day like this is really refreshing. So I encourage you to do that as well. Switch things up within your daily routine or your weekly routine, but also inject your new priorities into your schedule too, which will make you feel like you are constantly moving forward and moving toward these goals, but also you're kind of coming at it from a new perspective that doesn't feel stale. And then the last thing that I did that kind of re-inspired me, because I just kind of like wasn't like super focused in Q1. I always had my goals at the front of my mind. Like I was like every morning I would look at my vision board, but recently during my like 2 weeks in limbo, I was just like here. But I find that being focused and looking at my vision board every morning really does help me stay focused and motivated. So I kind of try to re-inspire myself by doing all the things that re-inspires me. Something like, again, looking at vision board, but looking at it from a different perspective on TikTok and looking at like videos of like entrepreneur aesthetic, then everybody in their lives that were like at the place I wanted to be, and basically just seeing it moving and in like reality or someone's reality, to just re-inspire myself and remind myself what it is that I'm trying to do. Go on Zillow if you're trying to move out. That always inspires me to like want to make money and stick to my goals. And also just kind of thinking and revisiting the feeling that I had when everything was going really, really well for me in Q1, when I was literally exceeding my goals, which was awesome. And I do not want to drop the ball and fall back on that. So this is what I did, and I feel a lot more inspired, a lot more focused, and a lot more energized too. So I think I had my moment, my little lazy girl moment, and now I'm back to doing all of the things, but also feeling pretty set up to avoid being burnt out by the end of Q2 now. So this is just a reminder to continue to try and reach your January 1st goals, your 2026 goals. I believe in you. You're doing great. If you had a moment where you were just a little bit unfocused, let's get back in it. And this is also not me telling you that you always need to hustle and always need to grind, because I'm not a fan of hustle culture. I love work-life balance, but this was becoming a problem for me, so I wanted to talk about it. Hopefully you feel a little bit more inspired. If you like conversations and content like this, I would highly recommend subscribing, and don't forget to leave a like before you leave. It helps me out and I really appreciate it. If you have any other video ideas or topics you'd like to see from me, definitely let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!